And they're off. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga Racecourse. Bright blue skies on this Wednesday. Temperature will be in the 80s. The main track is fast, the turf courses are firm, and the portable rails are up at 18 feet on both the melon and the inner turf. There's a jackpot carryover in the Empire 6 of more than $622,000. Here now the changes for today's 10-race program. The first race is a steeplechase event, and there are no changes. In today's second race, which will start the early pick 5, these horses will be 1 pound over, numbers 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, and 9. In the third race, which kicks off the early pick 4, scratch 3, Wicked Title, and 5, New Day Dawning. Scratch numbers 3 and 5, and a couple of overweights, numbers 1 and 8, are 2 pounds over. And in the fourth race, all horses will carry 2 pounds over. Race 5 starts the Empire 6, and the fifth race is the Day at the Spa Overnight Stakes. Scratch number 3, Love and Love. Scratch the 3 out of the fifth. In the sixth race, scratch number 1, Reed Can. Scratch the 1 out of race 6, which starts the late pick 5. Seventh race today, scratch the 2, Release the Thunder. Scratch number 2, Release the Thunder. In today's eighth race, scratch 5, Giant Shoes, and 9, Too Early. Scratch 5 and 9, and number 4 will be 2 pounds over. In the ninth race, we have these scratches. Scratch 4, Just Howard, 6, Backside of the Moon, and 9, It's All Relevant. Ninth race, scratch 4, 6, and 9. And in today's 10th race, we'll start with the overweights. Numbers 1, 1A, 2, 3, and 4 are 1 pound over. Number 5 is 3 pounds over. And numbers 6, 7, and 9, 1 pound over. And we do have a scratch in the 10th, scratch number 8, American Goddess. Scratch number 8, American Goddess, out of the 10th. Main track fast, turf courses firm, jackpot carryover in the Empire 6, $622,348. Today the Empire 6 begins in race number 5. We'll be back at 12:30 to reprise the changes. Today's first race post is at 12:50. Up next, the Wednesday edition of Talkin' Horses.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringWater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. Andy Serling. I'll be joined by Tom Law from the Saratoga Special, and this is horseracing.com. In just a moment to talk about today's first race, the steeplechase race. Anthony Stabile is back from his downstate visit, and he'll be joining me for races 2 through 10 as we start week number 3, Whitney week. Whitney 93 on Saturday, drew it this morning, a 5-horse field, but a tremendous matchup, including Tom's Day Tot, Code of Honor, and Improbable by my standards as well, and Mr. Buff. Try to talk about that a little bit with Anthony if we have some time, but a lot to talk about and a lot for you to do. If you're not a member of NYRA Bets, head on over to NYRABets.com and become a member. We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Use promo code SPA. NYRABets.com for more information. I want to talk about a couple of contests for this week. We have a special Whitney Challenge, all Saratoga races. This is for the NHC Tour as well as the Breeders' Cup Challenge. Find out more information at NYRABets.com/challenge, a $5,000 buy-in. More information on the website. And also, every Sunday, we have that $250 buy-in, all cash prizes, all through NYRA Bets. This contest through NYRA Bets. Also, NYRA.com/challenge for more information. That'll be every Sunday here at the Spa. And Saratoga Live, all day, every day. Watch it live on Saratoga, on Fox, as well as other networks. Head to NYRA.com/Saratoga Live for more information. As promised, Tom Law is here from the Saratoga Special. How's it going?
Great.
You guys working
Great to
hard?
be here again. Trying to.
Yeah. You were here on time this week. It was
Staying
good for you.
busy. I'm glad to be on time. I came
So
about an hour early.
We were at the draw.
I didn't want to miss the draw, and definitely didn't want to miss this.
Yeah, it was nice to have Shug McGay at the draw as well. Always, it feels like Shug has so much, brings so much to the game. You know, I mean, he's been around for such a long time, like the rest of us, and so many good horses that it's just great to see him participate in the big races. And Code of Honor, to me, after his top trip third in the Met Mile, in my heart, I want to like him in the race, but Improbable and Tom's Day Tot are pretty tall challenges.
Pretty salty group of 5 for sure that entered. Shug is kind of the dean of our New York trainers now, or really in the American trainers. I mean, he's not exactly old, but he's been around for so long, had so many good horses. He's won so many big races, and especially here. You know, he's won the Whitney many times.
Well, he won the Whitney with Personal Ensign. By the way, Talking Horses is presented by our friends at Saratoga Water. I was remiss in mentioning that, but I'll be drinking it all day long. We won it with Personal Ensign, of course, the first time beating Gulch and the mighty King Swan, and then Easy Goer pulled off the Whitney Travers double, and then he won it with Honor Code. And if we can have exciting at Whitney this weekend as we had when Honor Code won, I think we'll be in good shape.
The Honor Code, Liam's Map. I mean, got to be one of the best races I've seen here in recent history and any history. And I remember going way back when as a teenager and seeing Personal Ensign win as well, and that was cool. You know, King Swan, of course, a big fan favorite type horse.
Oh, he was such a great
Gulch,
horse.
champion sprinter. And,
amazing horse. You know, I was at Belmont when Personal Ensign broke her maiden. Actually lucky enough to have seen almost every race she ever ran live, because most of her races, I think save the Molly Pitcher, were in New York, and I was at Churchill for the last race. And I remember Shug going back even to Van Landingham, and that was the horse that put him on the map.
Sure.
But I agree. It's great to see those horses. And Shug actually snuck over to Colonial Downs and won a race with Vigilante's Way yesterday. It was a half to Mr. Speaker. Still trying to figure out how that horse paid $7 first time on the grass.
Had to have been a shipper probably from his Fair Hill String,
Yep,
I bet.
yep.
Yeah, hopefully the Clancy's got involved.
Yeah, anyway, race number 1, the jumps. Jonathan Shepard, your top selection here with Anticipating. I like the name, and let's anticipate a win for Jonathan Shepard. He can make it 2 in a row, and another 40 or so in a row, and he'll be back to his old streak.
Exactly. Of course, the Jonathan Shepard was the man here, and still is the man. Dominated the jump races in his heyday.
Incredible.
Still very much a force. And this horse exits kind of a good race behind his stablemate, Galway Kid, who ran a very good race last week in the Kaiser to snap decision. He's a horse that they really like, and anticipating. There haven't been a lot of jump races, so we don't really have sort of key races. So we just have a small sample to look at. We got to try to figure out which races are the key races.
It's also an odd race in that as a non-winner's one, obviously, but you've got 3 of the participants, and a couple of them that you like are coming off of wins in maiden special weight races. So you've got 3 breaking their maidens, trying to win back-to-back, including number 4, Critical Data, who you have second.
Yeah, Critical Data, from all reports, he's been the most impressive maiden winner in the abbreviated spring season. Of course, there's only 2 meets at the Great Meadow and Middleburg, both in Virginia.
Of course. How could I not know that?
So all reports is he's the best maiden winner. He was a little strong in his last race, from all reports. So maybe hopefully he's not too keyed up in this racetrack setting. Sometimes the horses are strong in those sort of country meets. When they get out here to the racetrack, they tend to be a little bit aggressive and keyed up. So hopefully he can relax a little bit. But he's a horse that has really good flat form, and with the races here, without the jump in the stretch, a good half-mile run from the last jump to the wire, he's really close to being stakes placed in a couple grade 3s last year. Richard Valentine trained him all along. Richard Valentine still trains him. So it's not like a situation where he went from a different trainer and had good form, and then he switches to a jump trainer. They got to kind of figure him out. Richard's had him all along. Richard, of course, does a great job. Trained Demonstrative a few years ago, champion steeplechaser. So Critical Data, he's probably going to be tough. I mean, he's going to be I thought he'd be the favorite in here. And
it's a little early.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
it is early.
make a lot of comments on the board at this point. It's funny, there are 3 4-year-olds in the race, and you often think of the jumpers as being older horses, and one of them is the horse that you have 4th, Fast Car. I see Bob LaPenta. Of course, Bob LaPenta, who's owned quite a few good horses in his day. He's the owner of Fast Cars. He ever had jumpers before?
I don't think he has. I could get Sean and Joe to verify
but
as far as I know, he has not had jumpers.
That's cool.
Obviously, they spent a lot of money for this horse at the Keeneland September sale back in 2017. Talented horse, I think, very athletic horse. He's transitioned to the jumpers. Jack Fisher ran him for 40 at Colonial Downs, speaking of Colonial Downs, and he won, snuck it past, nobody took him. And he's transitioned into a kind of a useful little jumper.
I'd love to know the trajectory of this horse. I don't think they spent $625,000 to be running in jump races. And with Bob LaPenta, you don't know where. I mean, the horse he's used a different number of trainers. I wonder where this horse was before ending up jumping. But he kept the horse, too.
He did.
It's kind of cool.
Did. Turned him over to Jack Fisher. Can't go wrong in that spot. Jack also runs the 7, Whitman's Poetry, another horse that I like. You'll look at his form, and you'll see 2 races on his form, both here last year, where he does not finish. Clipped heels one time, lost a jockey, had a bad jump on the 3rd fence in his last start. Looking at the races, you can't really fault him. You can't fault the horse for those races. I mean, you can't necessarily fault the jockey. It's just kind of unfortunate circumstances. But if you look at his other races on his form, I mean, he's right there. He's a 9-year-old. He's a veteran. He's trained by Jack Fisher. He's had a good run. He's only 2 lengths behind the horse that I picked on top. He could end up being the value play in this race. And he's another one. He's got, good experience over the jumps for sure. From
a winning perspective, though, he is a horse that even flat or jumps, he's a little camera shy.
Yeah, 1 for 11, 4 seconds. So, he's a good exotics horse if you can catch a price on him. He's 8-1 on the morning line. He's 5-1 now in the early betting. But we'll see if he drifts up a little bit. I'd like to use him.
All right. Tom, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. There will be 2 jump races next week, Wednesday and Thursday, I believe.
That's correct.
So we'll put you to work for a couple days. Thanks so much for joining
great.
us. And also, check out the Saratoga special. Go to thisishorseracing.com. 2 editions a week, right?
That's right, Wednesdays and Saturdays.
And you're doing all the work, and the Clancys are at home, laying around, doing nothing, as I hear.
Hardly. Sean actually has a ton of stuff in this week's, and Joe, of course, is the glue that binds it all together.
All right, we hope we see those guys at some point this meet. But thanks so much for joining us. We'll take a quick break. Talking Horses, sponsored by Saratoga Water. We'll be right back. Anthony Stabile will magically materialize next to me in just a few moments.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Thanks a lot, and welcome back to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. Anthony Stabile is back. You are ready. Race number 2. Before we make a big to-do about you coming back, we got a lot to talk about, Anthony.
I'm great, Andy. How are you?
I'm good. I've already talked to you. They don't really care.
They don't.
They're just so happy
They want
to
winners.
see you. The number 4, Beliza, in race number 2, will vie for favoritism with the 7, Cross Keys. I'm not sure where you went in this race, but here's Beliza's last race. One thing I noticed about her, she towers over the competition. Look at the size of her compared to
Huge.
the others. Looked to be a winner and got swallowed up by a 42-1 first-time star, one of 2 for Richard Lugovich that won at big prices at Belmont in the course of the meet. He had a very big positive ROI at Belmont. I guess she's the worst to beat. It's funny, big thing, but 'tis now, but maybe she is better going shorter.
Yeah, she certainly ran that way last time, right? I mean, it took
She is
took
your
an
top choice.
unusual first-time starter. She's my top pick, yeah. Took an unusual first-time starter, big price, second one of the meet, like you said, for the connections. I really didn't know where else to go in here. I had
You're banging
one
that desk a
little,
lot. That's your
I had
move.
one
I just
little,
noticed that's your move. It's like your
aggression
tell.
will not stand, man.
It's your tell.
I tell you. I had one other little opinion in here with the one Big Al's gal, but I just thought she was.
Why Big Al's gal?
Well, they ran this horse on a turf first time out.
Yes, they did. It was an Alcali.
Yeah, it is an Alcali. Family wasn't a lot of turf. Wushu Warriors, a claiming horse, New York bred that the folks would know from the last 5 or 6 years
How
or
could
so
they
here
not
on the
know
circuit.
Wushu Warrior?
Wushu's a warrior. Well, he is a warrior. He's a winter warrior, right?
And an 80 buyer top.
Yeah.
It's another foal that ran a little bit.
Yeah.
Chris Aguilar has very good numbers for what it's worth going turf to dirt with sprinters. We'll see. I agree. Have that horse in there. Have Whistle in the Dark in there as well for Tommy Albertrani. But I thought the 2 logicals were the horses, and I preferred Cross Keys. Simply a second-time star that just ran against better horses first time out. Was involved in the pace. It's not as though she did no running that day. Tony Dutrow obviously had a slow run for him, but this horse, to me, ran the better race of the 2, and I prefer her.
On the short stats that I have on my PPs from the last 17, 18, well, at this point, it would be 19 months. He has one dropper. I think it was the horse that won. Was it the horse that won and beat the West Point horse here last year mid-card?
I have no idea.
Who was like 0 for 7 or 8. Anyway, listen, the barn is just going so
Well, they haven't really
slow
started
right
that
now.
many horses. I mean,
I
Tony's
understand that.
got 16 starts. I prefer this horse. You're going to try to beat it in the barn?
Yeah.
I get it. Race number 3. Thought race number 3 was an interesting race. Now, it'll be interesting to see, of course, in any race, how they bet it. I know David has positive skew. I'm going to disagree with David about this line. I have trouble seeing 5 Alarm Robin as a big favorite in this race. Okay, but let's
Well,
go
5 to
quickly
2?
to positive skew. The positive skew did run reasonably well last time, and I think a lot of people will see that and is a logical player in here. The problem that I have is even though you're seeing positive skew rallying on the outside, this was during that week when the rails were down for the first time in the inner turf course, and all horses that saved ground had tremendous advantages, and positive skew spent the first 6 furlongs to 6.5 furlongs in this race right on the rail with Joelle, and I thought she was helped by that, and I'm a little bit dubious of her. Now, you don't have her in there as well, so you don't like her either. You've gone to a horse, the 2 Super Cute, trying the turf for the first time.
Yeah, you put the positive skew video up, and I couldn't agree with you more about her. Yeah, I went to Super Cute, who is not going to be super cute at that price, but obviously Christophe Clement's barn is going very, very well. Again, relying a little bit on the short stat here. 5 for 9 in the last 2 years, removing the blinkers. That's a pretty big number, especially for a horse that started in his barn that had the blinkers on and that won with the blinkers on first time out. I'm always very curious when same trainer makes the equipment change. You know, if it goes from a different barn via change or claim, it's a different story. But Christophe ran this filly with the blinkers on first time out, going long. She won on the dirt. She didn't run that well last time out.
But once again, and we've had this discussion now in 3 straight shows, you're choosing a horse first time turf that's going to be a very short price. And listen, I have the horse second. I absolutely agree. There's not a whole lot going on in this racehorse at Temple City. It's really not a dirt family, though. It's turf family. It's much more of a dirt family from the dam side.
Turf, yeah.
And you're taking a horse with Irad Ortiz, Christophe Clement as leading trainer, that's going to be a short price simply based on connections, that doesn't have a gigantic amount of turf pedigree, that's not exactly a superstar in the dirt, that in all likelihood has to significantly improve in the turf to win here at a short price. I don't see that as a good gamble, Anthony.
Okay. I just had no strong opinion on the horses that have run on the
That's
turf.
fine. I get that.
I'm not going to just, you know what I mean?
Well,
I'm going to default to a barn that's going despite the price.
It's defaulting to short prices. It's one thing to take a shot with a horse who's 6-8 to 1 based on some pedigree. This is a negative.
Okay, so what am I supposed to do here?
You're supposed to get a little clever here and try to find somebody else.
Like
At least
who?
Well, I don't know. You've got Kazar second, and Kazar is going to be a much better price. Why wouldn't you put Kazar on top?
Because Kesar is already over.
No one's keeping track except lunatics on Twitter of our top choices.
I'm not talking, but that's not even the point. Kesar's already failed in 4 turf attempts. Now, she's never been long.
She's never been long, and you obviously think she's going to run well long, so it's like a new...
I think there's a chance she's going to run well long.
Well, then why not put her on top?
I think there's a better chance Super Cute's going to run well on the turf than there is that Kesar's going to run well long.
Right, but Super Cute is going to be 1/4 of the price of Kesar. Do you think that If you've got Kesar second, you must think she's at least 1/4 as likely to win.
If nobody cares about the top pick, why do you care who my top pick is?
Well, I'm just having a discussion about making top picks about...
I think she's...
It's not about you. It's a general discussion about racing and handicapping. That's what the show is supposed to be.
I understand that. I just think that she is more likely to like turf than Kesar. Okay. I mean, there's a reason. I would assume there's a reason.
But you picked against the 3-5 correctly of Todd Pletcher's the other day. Didn't like, and she was a 3-5 shot. So you do pick against short-priced horses that are bad value.
I do.
But not this one.
No, because I can't. Because I have nothing clever in here.
Okay.
I'm taking a shot. Kesar and Bobby Robato, by the way, who's a very sharp trainer. Hasn't run Kesar long in 11 American starts.
I don't like Kesar in this race.
Yeah.
She's not of any interest to me whatsoever. But I like Sky Kitten in this race. Sky Kitten had no shot in that Pecatonic race last time. Widened the first turn. That was a race that was completely dominated by horses that ran inside and significantly better horses than these. 2 races back, she had a 3-wide trip the whole way around the track against the Gold Rail we talked about with Positive Skew. And she really didn't run that badly. I thought she fit very well. She drew on the inside for Dave Donk. She'll be a price. And I like Sky Kitten in race number 3.
Draw has done her no favors in her last 2
Well, and finally she gets a good draw. Right, finally gets a good draw, and I agree. That's a big, big difference for her. Race number 4, you've got an entry of Todd Pletcher horses. We can hold off on the replays for a moment. We'll talk about Todd's entry if we can. Either one of these, I guess, could be favored in here. There'll be a short price, and both can win, but... Boy, there's not, and I think you and I both have 1A, second, and third.
Correct.
I don't think I probably prefer the 1A, Ashiam or whatever. I'm just not thrilled with either one of these horses. They've sort of had their chances. Look at the prices that Ashisham has been. I don't know. Neither one of them did a lot for me, but they're the worst to beat. And the 1A is much the worst to beat of the entry.
I agree with that. To the point where I wonder if Ajhar is going to try and keep the pace honest in here. And maybe get one of the 2 out of. He kind of has them surrounded, right? I think
well, the speed is probably first line, and Hometown has some speed, but Ajhar also has speed. I agree.
Yeah.
Is the faster early of the 2.
Yeah, I would think Ajhar is there to try and keep the pace honest, since they're both from Todd's barn.
Trying to win with your 1.
Yeah, try to win with him on the front end, and Ashisham from coming off the pace. But I like you know this, and I'm stealing a page out of your book here. This entry. Especially because you're going to get 2 for. They're just going to be terribly overbet.
I'm with you on that. Now, you like this horse, Lucky Asset. We'll show the last race from Keeneland. I'm a little bit concerned about Lucky Asset stretching out. This was some ride by Corey Lannery, though. Boy, did he hug the fence, huh?
Yeah, he's like the modern day. Not that Calvin's gone anywhere, but he's looking to. Calvin doesn't ride as many. He's looking to fill that Calvin
Burrell. He's not in the winner's circle too often.
Yeah, he's looking to fill that Calvin Burrell void. This horse to me today is either a good pick that pays $11 or has sucker written all over him, right?
Or just a losing pick.
2 trips, two sprints.
Which we make all the time.
2 sprints to the route. This horse is a half to Twilight Eclipse and Grand Contender, both horses who loved a distance of ground. He's getting to the mile and 1/8. Now Tommy Bellhouse will be very excited to hear Twilight Eclipse on the show today.
How exciting, Tommy?
Very. That's his boy. And Twilight Eclipse did win on the dirt. He won the McKnight, I believe, off the turf. So I'm just going to take a little shot with this. I didn't realize David had him 5-2. I thought it was going to be a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled with this horse stretching out. The trainer does not have particularly good numbers. 2 for 26 stretching on the dirt. 6-2 cent source. Now, on the other hand, we'll show you a stat for the number 2 Hometown, where Rudy Brissett has outrageous numbers stretching horses out. 15 for 45 on stretches in the dirt, 33%, almost a $4 ROI. He's 9 for 28 with maidens, and I like this horse's first race, and I thought it was a good setup for stretching out second time out. So I prefer Hometown. It'll be well placed, drew well in this race. I think a horse that'll take some money in this race is the number 6 Vicarage. We'll take a look at Vicarage's race at Tampa Bay Downs. I guessed wrong here. You know, I always tease you and say, I guess you pick this horse. I thought you'd go to Clement here. I don't like the race that Vicarage is coming out of.
Yeah, and that was
this was a much tougher spot.
That was the reason I didn't.
But not impossible.
I think we covered this race on HRRN. Yeah, this was not the most spectacular field you're ever going to see down in Oldsmar, Florida, and kind of didn't have an excuse.
I think we've seen worse.
From the 3/16 pole home, right?
No, the figure was good enough, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the figure puts the horse in the running here, so I don't want to be too hard on this horse. And, I mean,
figure
everything
seems
Christoph's running
like
is running
it's
well.
much better than the field would produce.
I agree, but it was a big gap. It was a big gap back there, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's I thought this was, and I agree. I think the sentiment is they're going to default a little bit to the entry here, and the entry.
This is an entry you have to try
the
to
entry
beat.
can win, but there's a lot more going on than just the Todd Pletcher entry.
You're obviously using the horse in the pick 4 and the pick 5, but you're trying to beat them. If you're going on Naira bets and you're going to play somebody to win in here, you don't want these horses.
When's the last time we went into the third week at Saratoga with 3 trainers way at the top, right? Christoph leading, Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher 2 behind with 8. Been a lot. Mike Maker's won a lot of races too. He had a huge week last week, and so other people winning. It's been a competitive meet for sure. Race number 5 is the feature of the day at the Spa, and of course Chad Brown would love to win a race named for a horse that the New York bred that he won the Breeders' Cup with, and we'll look at Classic Lady getting the best of War Canoe, and Classic Lady of course won a 2 for Christoph. And here, I thought that Irad gave War Canoe a poor ride in this race. Thought he had a chance to be the controlling speed, and he just nursed her along. I think War Canoe should have just been sent. Go to the front, try to control the race, and in doing so, they drifted. It let Classic Lady come through on the inside. Obviously, 55 getting the job done. But you have to love War Canoe. It's a cool horse, and of course, she and Classic Lady, both horses for Michael Dubb and others. I'm going to go side a little against them, but I thought War Canoe was one I preferred. You like Classic Lady.
Yeah, it's funny. You wanted War Canoe go to the lead last time. I actually wanted Classic Lady to try to go to the lead last time.
War Canoe was the speed, and Irad chose to just strangle her down the whole way.
Yeah, I leaned with Classic Lady in here. I think off the break last time from November, horse ran her eyeballs. I mean, she got beat a nose to 55 would be any price in here, and I think she's going to move forward.
Such a trip
race.
last time, though.
She did. She got a good trip. I mean, she got a good trip last time. I'll tell you what, though, Andy. Why can't she get the same kind of trip in here, right? War Canoe figures to lead for position. We gets the money, who's just to her inside, has 0 speed.
Well, I imagine the 7 horse is going to go here, Vortex. Why can't she? Because you never want to bet a horse counting on getting a trip like that.
No, I mean, you don't want to count on it, but I mean, I can't see any reason why she can't find the same kind of trip.
I'm not confident that We Gets the Money's is good enough to beat these two, because the 1 and 4 are okay horses, no question about it. This was a remarkable performance, and Vortex Road also ran very well at a big price in this race also, and she'll try to wire again today. There was no pace in here. The pace absolutely held together, and somehow We Gets the Money's got the money in this race. This was a remarkable race, overcoming a racetrack that's kind to speed horses, a race that was kind of speed horses, and getting up and winning this race. I think We Get the Money is a very, very cool horse, and I'm going to hope she can step up her game. It's not as though she's meeting any titans in here.
No, and she's the kind of horse where if she doesn't get up last time, you kind of just say to yourself, well, you know what? 2 starts back for her. You kind of say to yourself, well, mile and a 16th is probably just too short for her. But she showed that the middle distances against the right horses and with a decent enough setup. I mean, I would think they're going to put a little more pace on for her in here than they did that start 2 back, but
why?
I'm starting to.
Why more pace here? Vortex Road's going to go.
Shouldn't Wish Upon try? You think Wish Upon?
I don't know. Wish Upon doesn't have any speed anymore.
Vortex Road has some speed.
Wish Upon doesn't have any speed anymore.
Yeah.
And by the way, they say reserved inside traffic quarter. I thought Wish Upon was awful last time, but maybe she has back race better. I mean, she could be forward. I don't disagree. Put it this way, I don't think it would be a worst pace scenario for her.
I think getting back to Luis Saez, too. Luis ridden her a couple of times, and he was aggressive both times he was aboard. He almost stole
moderate paces.
The moderate, yeah, but at least there is some aggression being shown.
There's a little more speed than the last time. I agree.
Leave for some position at the very least.
We'll see how things work out. In the day at the Spa, theoretically, the feature on today's card.
She was my only winner of that Breeders' Cup. That was a bad.
I don't think I had a
single
single winner of that Breeders' Cup.
She was the only horse I bet Javier Wire to Wire, right?
Terrible at that Breeders'. I had Wayville Avenue. I think that was my only winner in that Breeders' Cup.
Chad bailed us both out.
Yeah.
or stem the tide at the very least.
I remember when Wavell Avenue ran in a maiden claimer. She broke her maiden.
I remember that.
And I said to Chad, you got away with one here. Now, we never thought she'd turn out to be as good as she was.
I remember you telling me that as well.
Yeah. Race number 6 starts off the late, ends the early pick 5. Early pick 4 starts out the late pick 5 as well. We'll take a quick break to hear from Saratoga Water after this race. I thought this was a very, very interesting race. I want to start the conversation with a horse, the big fundamental. I don't know if you have him. We both have him third. Yeah. But I think you kind of have to talk about him because he's a hard horse to know what to do with. We'll take a look at him. I think this is him. Let's see. Where did I go back with his race? To race here in 2017 when he got the victory over Do You Know Something and Securitas. And boy, he looked like he was going to be a good horse. And, you know, we're going to show you an amazing stat for Todd Pletcher after this race. And he's running him at 6 furlongs. He's never run him below a mile. And it's not 1 1.5 layoff. It's 2 1.5 layoffs for this horse. Though, based on Todd Pletcher's numbers, and I know they're $5 horses he's winning with, but I would reckon that there's never been a trainer that put up stats like that for horses coming off year-plus layoffs.
Agreed.
But it's just such a weird spot.
This race could not have, for me, could not have been placed worse on the card as the Crossroads race if you're a pick 5 player like I am.
Especially
also.
giving your pick, yes.
Yeah, I had no real grip on this race.
I
wanted to take a little bit of a price. The big fundamental, 6 to 1 more. Wow, I mean, I got to think he's
There's a part of you that says you
here,
can't leave the horse out.
No shot you can leave the horse
Todd
out.
Pletcher wins with these kind of horses.
No shot.
We know how good he was. It's just hard to know if he can run it all anymore. I have no idea where you're going with Lone Rock.
I'm going back to his one-turn races, and that's really it. His one-turn races are light years better recently, anyway, since he's been gelded than his 2-turn races. You go back to those races, Churchill, Aqueduct, and Laurel. Listen, he's never sprinted. Neither's the big fundamental. He's never won 6.5, I should say. Okay. Neither is the big fundamental. This is one of those races where, to me, I was going to lean a little bit on Reed Can.
Is it odd that Cantor Mossie's running the weaker half of the entry? I bet Topper T last time got a perfect trip and was a very mediocre second behind a wicked pace.
Yeah, I mean...
But Cantor Mossie has improved a lot of horses. I don't want to completely dismiss him.
Wouldn't you have assumed that Reed Con was going to get a good trip in here, too?
I didn't like Reed Con at all.
You didn't?
No.
Okay.
I'd frankly be more inclined to take Topper T at 6 or 8 to 1 in here than Reed Con and the 3 to 1 or so at the entry. I'm just saying I would be more inclined to want Topper T because Mercon Cantor Mossie has done so well off the claim. I don't like this horse at all in here on his form.
Okay.
I like this horse, American Power. We'll go back 2 races on American Power. And he ran very well behind One and Dance, was able to control on the front end. And, I mean, he got a good trip and a good ride, but given the pace scenario in here, thought he ran remarkably well. Then he came into that very, very tough race with Fortin Hill, Amundsen. That was a day when Speed did pretty well during the course of the day. I just thought this was a supremely logical horse for Linda Rice. Nothing clever.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, horse 2 for 2 here at Saratoga as well. So he obviously likes it up here.
Well, you know, let me tell you something about that. For people, I'm not a course for the course guy. I think it's total BS. But this is a completely different racetrack than we had here last year.
Oh, that's a good point.
So.
That's actually a great point.
Yeah, you or somebody else said to me the track is very similar to Aqueduct, and John Kimmel was talking about Mr. Buff. And I thought about that when Saratalto won here the other day, a horse who's loved Aqueduct, and I thought about that. So if you think about combinations of tracks, now my feeling for Saratoga is it's never been the racetrack. It's being in Saratoga. The horses that in the past years have come up here and excelled, think of 4-Star Dave, who's done it on different surfaces. Not that he wasn't good other tracks, but I always thought it was just being in Saratoga had a calming influence on some horses, and that's why they ran better up here. Yeah. A quick call, you know, was it the surface or was it being in Saratoga?
Yeah. Being out of the hustle
what
and
about
bustle a bit.
Pete's Plate? I mean, you don't have the 5 in the top 4.
I had a very. I wanted to take some prices in here.
Okay, I think
just
you're
wanted some
crazy. Pete's Play Call. Seems like a logical horse to me. I don't know what to do with him, but I'm not leaving Mike Maker horses out. I mean, his horses are running, and not just in the turf. He had a big performance with a 103 Beyer in the dirt last week.
And, you know, with Reed Can out of here, maybe even with Reed Can in here, is he the speed now? I mean,
well, yes, he and Clench are the speeds. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
You make a great point. There you go.
I don't, Clench
I
did
think
not
that
look
Pete's
good
play call is
last
going to be
time.
tough in here. I'm going to focus mostly on the 3 and 5 in here with some other backups.
I will have an all button, my friend. That I can tell you. That race gave me fits.
Really little Sakari on your tickets. Race number 7, the late pick 4, coming up after a quick break to hear from our friends at Saratoga Water.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water. He is the Big A, Anthony Stabile.
He's not.
Tan, rested, and ready after a refreshing trip down
Put a
in
little
York.
fresh coat on with Phil. Had a couple of cigars. Phil really wanted to have your number the other day to tell you that he was not ready for my return. He wanted to give you a text on the air on Sunday. He doesn't have your number though.
This is why I like Anthony. He didn't give my phone number out. Race number 7. Nothing personal, Phil. He's a lovely man. Any friend of Anthony Stabile's is a friend of mine. Race number 7. We'll start out with Saif and back to the roots, to his roots, running second and third behind Chewing Gum, who is a very nice horse for Bill Mott. I'm just not a big Saif fan. I'm going to use him, but I'm not a huge fan.
Must be used. Don't really want him at a short price on top. He can win. Cutting back to the 5.5 should help. He broke his maiden here, doing that last year.
Chad Brown
really
horses that
nothing
fail
really
at short,
negative to say, but
Chad Brown horses that fail over and over again at short prices are not for me. They're just not for me. I mean, I got him second in here. I'm not throwing him out,
too.
but I'm not a big fan.
And part of the reason I have him second is because that's what he likes to do. 4 for 9. He's second 4 of his 9 starts.
Okay, what do you like about Gould?
This is another race. I wanted to take a little bit of a price. If you're going to try and beat the
Based
favorite.
on what?
Well, this horse is third off a layoff. He came back from Saudi Arabia. He ran against. I think now you could say, well, you could argue, well, he said, well, ran is very subjective here. He faced much tougher fields.
He was awful
than he's
last
faced
time.
today. I'm not saying he wasn't, but maybe the trip from Dubai took something out of him. To Saudi took something out of him.
But he had 2 starts.
Couple of races. Well, yeah, he put the blinkers on last time. That was different. He was a little bit wide. Now he gets Shoel.
He wasn't wide. He wasn't wide last time. He stayed on the rail and he angled out in the stretch. He wasn't wide last time.
He was
at all.
wide
He
on
had
the turn?
not even remotely wide on the turn.
Well,
nowhere near wide on the turn.
Well able to control that race on the front end. Like I said, I just think he faced a couple
Mike
of
Beer
better
likes
fields.
this horse, and I have a world of respect for Mike's opinion. I don't see this horse at all. I don't get it. Okay, good luck. I mean, I don't know what to say. I didn't like this horse, but would be the first horse to win that I didn't like.
Yeah.
I want to use 3 horses here. I want to use the 4, 5, and 8. My feeling with Vici, he hasn't won in quite a while. He hasn't won since. You ready for this? Exactly 2 years the day.
Wow.
Wow, I just noticed that. I wrote it down. 7:29:18, I believe, is his last win. I thought a return to 5.5 furlongs would suit him. He's better going a bit shorter. He's been running against significantly better horses than these. It's not as though his form is completely disintegrated for Al Stall, but I thought he'd be a fair enough price.
You really just thought he was going to celebrate his anniversary with another win.
I just discovered that. I wrote it on the top of the page and I just realized
You're amazing, Andy.
No,
day in and day out, you just continue to bring new gems and sparkling.
That's right.
Like your water.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's my job.
Well, I think the Saratoga water, the sparkling Saratoga water, the effervescence is coming out in you now. I'm having one as well. I want to be. Remember the old "Be Like Mike" commercials? This is what it is now.
I liked Anthony better when he drank the flat water, and I could drink both the sparkling waters. Nothing against the flat waters.
I just grabbed whatever was closer, to be honest with you.
No, you're copying me. The 5 secondary war comes in for our good friend Norm Cassie. I was sorry that Norm didn't make the trip. I actually asked Gabby if any chance she or Norm would be coming here, but not the case. He didn't run that badly last time. You know what? Maybe second off a layoff, maybe he's a better sprinter. I thought the secondary war is an interesting player.
These 6th and 7th races.
Horse I don't get the Davis short price, Kitten's Cat. Linda Rice, for what it's worth, off the claim of the turf, 5 to 6 furlongs, 3 for 15, $1.04 ROI, all at Naira. How's he going to win if he runs his last race? This is a little better field than Honey won't.
Yeah, I have him.
Is he really going to be 4 to 1? Well, I didn't see this horse at all.
First time off the claim for Linda, and trying, but taking a horse from Mike Maker. I don't know. I thought maybe the other Linda horse needed a 3 ready for prime time might be okay.
Yeah, I didn't like that horse. Linda Rice, 180 days on the turf, 5 to 6 furlongs. She is 2 for 27, 7% and a 43-cent ROI. Look at that, like magic. You mention it. I mean, the guys in the truck, they just came up with that like magic.
You walk me right into them sometimes.
No, you crashed into the fence on that one all on your own. Race number 8. I think this may be one of the few races today we might agree. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Oh, no, not. I like this horse, Blackjack Davy. Linda Rice has good numbers off of maiden wins in the dirt. I think Blackjack Davy may be okay for Zeri Zero.
I don't disagree.
I just think he might be. I mean, he's not a great favorite to take. I get it, off a maiden win, meeting some horses, more experience. I think this horse is okay.
Thought this was all 6. This is one I finally felt like I could just. This is all 6s and 8s for me. This horse was very good second time. I think that's my biggest problem with this horse, though, was, this horse did what he's supposed to do. He won second time out for Linda Rice, stretching out, the whole thing. And it's still very hard for me to believe I got to take a posse at a short price going a mile and an eighth.
It is weird, but the horse did run well stretching out, and Linda's wanted to run this horse long, so I can't fault it. I agree. I saw Posse, but the horse won a mile and 16th. I don't know why we're supposed to worry about it.
I just took the horse that the only thing
Danny
that really
California.
I took Danny California, the horse that's won here around the 2 turns at the 9 furlongs. He's actually 2 for 4.
On a sloppy track in a race that will never win this race.
I know.
Though.
I'm very well aware, but at the very least, I know he has enough races going
what do you
long.
Know?
He has enough races going long, and he has races around 2 turns. He's a lot more seasoned than his rival in here, than Blackjack Davy. And he's probably going to be twice the price. So but on my pick 4s and pick 5s, there will be 6s and 8s on every ticket.
Okay, that's fine.
He's right. I do smack the table.
You do, yeah.
I just noticed that. Actually, you pointed
demonstrative,
it out.
yeah. That's a great point. I think there are others in here. I think Dancers for Tokens is not impossible at a price. A horse that has run figures in the past, good enough to win, did not run well last time.
And BB Banker wire him?
And BB Banker could wire the field, is what I was going to say next. Now, I don't think that BB Banker is going to be as close to Blackjack Davy's price as David does, but maybe he's right. BB Banker ran a big fig last time.
Wow. I don't. That has to be.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure David's wrong about that.
You think BB Banker's going to be a shorter price than Danny California?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can we bet on that? We're at 49, by the way. Anthony got back.
Yeah, we could bet a lunch.
Okay. 1 lunch, 2 shorter than
People
8.
are going to see voided claim and a 2 lifetime win. And you guys really think he's going to be shorter than Danny California?
Danny California, that win machine that he is?
I'm not saying he's a win machine. I don't.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll side with David. He's usually right.
I normally do too. This one would shock me. This one you can knock me over with a sneeze.
I don't think you could knock Anthony over with a hurricane, but that's another discussion. You walked right into that. Race number 9, a very, very strong race. Let's start with Devamani towards the outside in race number 9 and take a look at his second place finish 2 back. I'm not this horse's biggest fan.
I know you're not. You didn't like him. You didn't like. I don't think. Did you like him last time? No, I don't believe you liked him in the Manhattan either. Yeah, he kind of had a nice trip in the Manhattan and just didn't fire. I don't know if it was the 1.25 miles, cutting back down to the 1.16 miles. Coming back in 25 days as well. Less than 4 weeks. Yeah.
I'm just not a huge Devamani fan, to be honest with you. I know that he has really improved for Chad Brown. He's still a horse with 8 seconds that doesn't get it done. And listen, he has really stepped up his game since going to Chad's barn.
I'm just glad you didn't show the November race when I needed Dream Friend.
Yeah, that was brutal.
He just listen. I thought he sat an absolutely perfect trip last time, and he just didn't fire. But
it was the Manhattan.
We got beat 3 lengths in the Manhattan, right? I mean, and he's dropping. He's dropping in now.
Is he better? A little better going shorter.
Yeah.
See, maybe the 1.16 is better for him. So I'm not against him. He's going to be on my tickets. You're going to try to wire the field with Guido.
And that's all I got for you, my man.
No, I hear you. 1.16, a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, a little bit of a concern. I'm just hoping he can get in front of these. And, not a knock on his other riders, but I'm a big fan of Luis Saez in general. But when he gets on these horses that need a little help getting home that last 16th or 8th of a mile, he does a really good job at doling out speed. And I'm just hoping he can do that here with Guido. That's it. And there's, and Louis rides speed horses, right? Louis won't be a length in front with Guido. Guido will be 2.5, 3 lengths in front. He'll be dictating. He'll be controlling the pace. And then again, it's about, getting that next to last quarter and trying to nurse him along and springing a latch on the turn. Louis does a great job with types like these, and I'm just going to hope he can get this horse home.
I'm scared of this horse. I hear you. I'm scared of talented horses with a lot of speed. I don't disagree. Yeah. I wonder if he'll get a little late in the stretch, but I'm not knocking this horse at all. What about breaking the rules for Shug? I know he got a good trip when he came back, but he beat a good horse in Digital Age, and
Digital Age looked good coming back, winning as well. So yeah, you kind of feel like this race is going to produce a lot of good things, and it already has. With Digital Age coming back and winning the allowance race last week. I mean, how good was this horse? This horse is off 370 days. I know he got a good enough trip, but I mean, he's able to go the 1 1/8 that day. Now he gets to cut back in distance, off almost another 2-month little rest. He gets to run fresh.
I got no knock on him.
No.
I just think he's a good horse. And the other thing about him is he was a good horse before he got laid up. And he has every right to be a good horse going forward.
He was a stakes winner.
Yeah, I mean, this is a stakes field. Let's be honest.
Absolutely.
This is.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know the Day of the Spa is the theoretical feature, but this is. We've run stakes here that aren't as tough and competitive as this, and it's nothing. But speaking of stakes competitors, look at Therapist last time out, getting the job done. Now he should have been disqualified in this race. I have no idea how he was left up in here. He clearly fouled the runner-up in this race. The problem with Therapist is, he's not a 2-turn horse, and he's a problem for Christophe Clement in Saratoga because he's not really a 5.5, and there's no real 5.5 furlong race for him, and he's run well enough in the mile 16th races you can run in these races, but he's really a 1-turn, 7 furlong type horse, maybe a mile, but 1 turn is so much better for him.
Yeah.
It's a terrific horse.
He has the 1-2 turn win in the 3-horse field in the Stallion Series race up here a couple of years ago. But
you and I were second horse suit, I think, in that race. Or we followed the trial.
So all we had to do was be fourth. We'd have grabbed 12,000. 6,000.
I pulled up the
anyway. I'm definitely in behind in the horse suit, by the way.
I like the one.
Okay.
Wissahickon. At the end of the day, you go 2 ways with these Europeans, and for what it's worth, foreign horses first time Lasix in turf routes. Jonathan Thomas is 2 for 5. There haven't been too many with an ROI of $4.76, so they've won. This is just a better horse than these horses based on his European races. He's 8 for 12 lifetime, most of those unsynthetic, but he is 2 for 4 in the turf. You look at that field he was even money in last time he ran, last August. Space Traveler's third came back and ran the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile. These are serious racehorses he ran. He won a 33-horse race at Newmarket with a 126 time form fig. He got a 120 time form fig in his last race. This is a serious racehorse coming over here, getting Lasix. These Europeans can go either way. You don't really know, but this horse has significant ability. He's not in an easy spot. It's not like he's meeting a bunch of horses that are inferior. These are not inferior horses. These are good horses, but he is a very, very good horse.
I almost picked this horse.
And good to hear. Well, everybody relieved?
I almost picked this horse, and then I decided that, in my mind, this is a jumping off point for this horse. Because of 2 reasons. One, when Jonathan Thomas reads the conditions of this race, he knows who's eligible for this race, and he knows maybe Devamani's a little bit of a surprise.
What race? What race is he getting into that he's eligible for?
Hold on.
What race is he eligible for?
He's not. But you just said it yourself. This is a stakes field.
So what?
I think if he was ready to fire his best shot first time, he'd have ran him in stakes.
Which stake?
Whatever.
Here or the Baruch? I think he felt that the Baruch would have been a little tough. The Baruch's a tougher race than this one. I think he wants to run him where he feels he can win.
Okay.
I think you're overthinking it, but we'll see.
Okay.
See what they have with Wissahickon, a very good 9th race.
On paper, would you have rather faced Breaking the Rules or Some Like It Hot Brown?
Oh, my God, Breaking the Rules.
Okay.
It wasn't just him. There were others in there. Good Governance, who was a short price. There are a lot of people that liked Halliday in that race. So, yeah, this race. You got a horse in that race with multiple triple-digit buyers.
Okay.
This race. Okay. The 10th race today, I'm going to be interested to see who's actually favored in race number 10 today. You do have an entry where both have a chance to win. We'll take a look at Zacapa for Brad Cox. And I guess there's no reason to believe Zacapa should have a problem cutting back in distance. But she is also a horse now that has 3 seconds in 4 career starts, albeit here losing to a favorite.
Yeah. That's obviously a concern, right? And you know what really bugs me?
What really bugs you?
One-paced final furlong, the comment in the first start. That just gets you to believe that maybe her destiny is to just keep being a check getter. And listen, sometimes that's not the worst thing.
It's her first start. She improved in every race since then.
I understand that. She's been competitive, but she's also finished second in her next three. And I think she's, because the other filly, like you said, certainly merits a chance in here. I think ultimately they will be the favorite, and I think you've got to try and take a little shot against them.
All right. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with them. I mean, they're the worst to beat. I think Sequin's the worst to beat. We'll take a look at Sequin's, I think, debut race here last year, where she finished out of a horse named Sharing, who came back and won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf and ran second in the Coronation over at Ascot in her last start. And I know she's got 3 seconds. I get all that. But I'm going to tell you something. Every one of those races is good enough basically to win here as a 2-year-old. And I'm going to show you a stat for Wesley Ward with his maidens coming off of significant layoffs, which suggests they all run. It seems like Wesley's horses have been very live up here. And I think Sequin should be favored in here. And I think Sequin is an hour the horse to beat in this race.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with the stat. There's nothing wrong with her races, besides the fact that she has finished second in all 3 of her turf races. And I'm just not going to... I'm never going to gravitate towards those horses.
Okay. No, you're going to gravitate to a horse that's finished 3rd and 5th in her 2 turf races.
Right.
I mean, I'm just, I hear you.
Both going long. Half to stakes winner Free as a Bird, who was a turf sprinter for the same connections.
I like Free as a Bird.
I love Free as a Bird.
So did I.
Joelle Rosario's going to climb aboard. She's getting a positive rider switch. She's doing what her big sister loved to do.
But a trainer who trained her big sister, yet she ran her going long.
Tried to get her in 2 turf sprints, and it rained off both times.
I agree. Well, one was the debut, and then he went right to a route race, and then he got rained off. I hear you, but he did run in route races.
He did. But
no, I'm using her. I'm not against her.
I'm going to tell you another thing too.
What are you going to tell me?
And this is something that I think is I don't always come up here with all the stats and everything, but I think being someone who has been in the game their whole life, I can think of this a little more broad-mindedly. From, not that I've ever trained horses or anything, but from that backstretch point of view. During the late winter and into the spring, with all the uncertainty, I think you're going to see some trainers doing some things that they ordinarily wouldn't do or didn't want to do. But because of the uncertainty of racing, they did. And I'm not telling you that the only reason.
I don't know that there were turf sprints for this horse at all.
But
I know the horse ran long.
I'm trying to say,
I think you're guessing,
but
you're guessing about a lot of things.
No, I can tell you this. From the trainers I've spoken to, a lot of guys and gals ran their horses in spots that they weren't. And I'm not saying that's the case here, but just keep that in mind.
6 weeks apart, Anthony.
Andy, I'm not saying that's the case here, but when you don't know when tracks are opening or when a track is going to close, I think you run your horses. And I think it's a little hard.
But she did run 6 weeks apart, Ant, and then she ran another 5 weeks later.
And I'm not saying
now she's coming back 2.5 months later.
I'm not saying that's the case here, Andy.
Right. Your story is belied by this horse's PPs. That's the only problem with that. I hear what you're saying.
I'm just saying to keep that in mind, right? You know, I know what you're trying to say. He tried to run.
You want to discuss the Whitney for a minute?
I would love to.
Okay.
One of my favorite races. I mean, it's the most important race for all the
horses. We already
horses.
drew it, so I assume you've already handicapped it.
I mean. Those races are kind of like, yeah, I mean, you got to handicap them, but you kind of have a
Well, there's
idea,
3 serious horses that can win here between Tom's d'Etat, Code of Honor, and Improbable. I mean, in my heart, I kind of want to like, and there's the field for the race. Thank you very much. Our crack staff in the truck, they never disappoint. They're serious race horses, and in my heart, I kind of want Code of Honor to win. He ran so well in the Met Mile, but Tom's d'Etat's last race at Churchill was brilliant.
See, in my mind, there's a very clear totem pole here.
Totem pole?
Yeah, it's Improbable is in the middle of the sandwich, and Mr. Buff and By My Standards are down at the bottom, and Code of Honor and Tom's d'Etat are at the top. In what order, I don't know.
Improbable's pretty good.
Yeah, he is. I don't put Improbable in the category of Code of Honor and Tom's d'Etat.
When Improbable breaks from the gate and he doesn't misbehave, I'm not sure how good. He's not that good. As Bob Baffert will try to win back-to-back runnings of the Whitney, having won it last year. Shug will be looking for his 4th win in the Whitney. Personal Ensign, Easy Goer, and Honor Code as well. And Al Stahl, of course, won 10 years ago with Blame.
All memorable for their own reason, right?
Every Whitney's memorable.
Personal Ensign.
My favorite
as
race
a filly,
every year.
Easy Goer as a 3-year-old, pulling off the the
Honor
Whitney
code
Travis
for running
double,
one of the great
and honor
races and
code.
beating Liam's map.
I mean, you want to
thrilling
talk
race.
about a horse race, right? Beating Liam's map. Tonalist is a couple of lengths behind them. They're a pole in front of the rest. That was a great horse race. I watched that on a soccer field.
Head
in the
over to
middle of Nassau
Naira Bets.
County.
If you're not a member of Naira Bets, become a member. We will match up to $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code SPA. Head to NairaBets.com for much more information. A couple of contests this weekend. We have the $5,000 buy-in in all Saratoga races. Register at NairaBets.com/contest for the Whitney Challenge, Breeders' Cup Challenge, as well as the NHC Tour. Naira Bets every Sunday. We have contests, $250 buy-in for that, all cash prizes. You can register now at Naira.com/challenge for the Naira Bets contest, which you must be a member of. Also, Saratoga Live today and all days will be on from 1 to 6 today. Check Naira.com/Saratoga Live for full listings of where we will be.
It's got to be a thrill for some of those Sunday contest players, too, following that contest extensively on Saratoga Live. It was fun. We were over at Prime watching everybody.
How'd that
and
go?
trying to get JK home. Good. It went well. It always goes well. We'll be over there for the Whitney.
All right. John and Brielle up next with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.
Hello, racing fans, and once again, welcome to Saratoga. Sunny skies, the temperature in the 80s. Main track fast, turf course is firm. Portable rails are up at 18 feet on both the melon turf and the inner turf. There's a jackpot carryover in the Empire.